There we go. Of course, the scuff from the first moment. So I had my lore already recorded to share with all of you, and OBS does not want to play it. So, I'm gonna have to just improvise and tell you my story. So, way to make things easy, huh? All right. So, welcome. I am by no means an artist. Rather, I paint pictures with words. I apologize that I don't have beautiful animation and custom music to offer you. But what I do have is a story. So, how shall I begin? It is a truth to be universally... No. I can't steal from Jane Austen. That would be sacrilege. It was a dark and stormy... No, way too cliche. And also, it wasn't dark and stormy. It was a cold night, sure, and it was snowing, but only the gentlest of snows. Now I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's start again. Do you ever wonder where dragons come from? Would it be strange to know that I'm not really completely sure either, even though I am one? I can start from what I know. I am Aspen Dracaena, and this is my story. There was a monastery of sorts. It wasn't like the more familiar monasteries of well-known religions around the world. It was run by an obscure faith that has now been lost to time. It was a faith devoted to study and living in harmony with the natural world around it. It was a place of joy and welcome. It was a place of contemplation and peace, except for us, the strange children that showed up on the doorstep every few years. Sometimes we were a chaotic lot, but the monks always took us in. They educated us and raised us with love until we reached adulthood. But how strange were we? Well, it was obvious we weren't quite human. One cold winter night, one of those children was mysteriously dropped on the doorstep. A tiny baby that wasn't even swaddled in blankets, but placed directly on the icy steps. After a quick rap-tap-tap on the door, she was simply left behind. You'd think she'd be crying or painfully cold, but she wasn't. She gurgled happily as she reached up and caught snowflakes that didn't melt in her hands. Next to her was a leather bag with crystals and gems overflowing from the top. She didn't have to wait long. The monks had learned to expect the unexpected, and they saw all the children as gifts to be cherished, so they often took turns keeping watch at night. Percival was the monk on duty that night. He had been reading by candlelight, but quickly put his book down the moment he heard the knock at the door. The monks were used to finding the children in varying states of dress, so they always kept a basket with blankets on hand, ready should another child show up. He grabbed the basket and opened the door to find the smiling baby. She reached for him immediately. "Little one," he said, "how are you not cold?" She merely smiled back, then gurgled and stuck out her dark blue tongue. "Ah, yes, you're definitely one of those children," Percival said with a chuckle. "Who'd ever thought we'd be fortunate enough to be the one on duty when one of you showed up?" It was indeed considered good fortune to be the one on duty to find one of these odd children. The children often bonded with whoever found them first. By seemingly strange coincidence, the child's talents often tended to line up with the monk's interests. Whether those who left the children at the monastery waited until the right monk was on watch, or things just worked out that way, nobody knew. All Percival knew was that this child would be his student, and he was looking forward to teaching her how to read and write. In case you didn't know by now, that happily chilly little baby was me. I was raised by all the monks, of course, and spent much of my time playing games with the other children. Beatrix, who hovered slightly over the ground when she walked and had hair like fluffy clouds. Randall, whose flame red hair seemed to actually be on fire from time to time. Isolde, who swam like a fish in the nearby river, likely in part due to the gills on the sides of her neck. And Benedict, who had a talent for finding precious stones and gems in caves near the river. I was impervious to cold, and sometimes even in summer, the humidity would form snowflakes around me before falling to the ground and melting. We all had our weird qualities and different personalities. Most everyone was more active than I was. However, being more introverted than the rest, my favorite thing was to sit at night with whichever monk was on duty and read myself to sleep. My childhood was relatively peaceful, considering everything. Idyllic, even. There were always friends to play with, and because of my natural curiosity, I was a good student. Also, due to my ability to handle extreme winter temperatures, I often and happily was sent out in the winter to forage for food, to fluff out our winter stores, or hunt for wild game so that we had something fresh to eat. The years went on, and I became Percival's scribe when his arthritis became painful. I also took on curation duties for the library. Beatrix had left at one point. According to the monks, this was normal and nobody was concerned, but I found the whole thing a little worrisome. She wasn't necessarily the type to up and leave, but after asking a few too many questions, all I was told was that someday I'd have the choice to leave as she did. The other children who had been there longer than I had told me that this happened before, and it was normal. One particularly harsh winter, I was sent off with my crossbow to hunt. It was Isolde's founding day, much like a birthday, except we didn't really know when our birthdays were, and a feast was planned. Getting sent out wasn't an unusual thing for me, so I went out in the cold and searched for some rabbits, or possibly a deer. It was almost a meditative process for me, as I happily walked through the fluffy snow with a skill that even the most cautious deer would envy. Of course, because it was one of my favorite tasks, partially because it provided a little solitude from the busy energy of the monastery, I spent more time than I intended tracking down my prey. Once I finally caught the deer I was looking for, I began to pull things together to return home. Something was wrong, however. As I began my trek back home, the wind had shifted, and I smelled smoke in the air. It wasn't the kind of smoke you'd get from a cozy fire, either. It was the smell of things burning that shouldn't be burning. My palms began to sweat, and my blood began to burn in fear. I knew where the smoke was coming from. The smoke was coming from the monastery. I dropped everything except for my crossbow and arrows, which were already on my harness, and ran as fast as I could, making much faster time than most normal people would due to my strange affinity for the snow. It was too late. There was nothing left but ruins. It was clearly a planned attack, too. All I could do was look away from the grisly devastation before me. Nobody survived. I sank to my knees and sobbed. I cried so long, my tears falling down my cheeks, then turning into ice before they fell into my lap and on the ground in front of me. I would likely have sat there for hours if it wasn't for a strange shift in the air and the sound of large wings flapping. I turned to look as a purple reptilian foot landed only a few yards away from me. If I hadn't been so horrified at what happened, I would have been shocked or terrified or some other emotion, but all I could feel was completely drained. Oh, child, I'm so sorry. A deep voice came from over my head. I looked up to see the sleek face of a purple dragon hanging over me. Overhead, behind her, I could see other dragons carrying buckets of water, or spouting water out of their own mouths to put out the remains of the fire. What? I asked shakily. My dear, you have so much to learn. She got down on the ground and curled up like a cat next to me, possibly to seem less terrifying. We've been sending our young to this monastery since ancient days. We do so because as dragons, we live in a world dominated by humans, so we want our young to understand them. I took in the information, my brain slightly numb. Does that mean, I asked as I lifted one of my arms to examine my skin for scales. The purple dragon chuckled, then nodded. You've always been a dragon. Every time one of you is ready, one of us comes to bring you back to our kind. But I don't look like a dragon, I said, still sniffling because my nose felt stuffy after all the tears. I then mentally cringed because it had always been obvious I wasn't the same as the monks, with my skin so pale it was almost blue and my imperviousness to cold. You simply need to learn how to shift back to dragon form. Here. The purple dragon breathed over me. I would have expected fire, but instead, I felt a pleasant tingle on my skin. That should do it. In order to prevent our children from changing back to dragon form too early, I use a little magic to lock them in human form. You should be able to easily change now. I looked at her, dumbfounded. How? She put a claw gently on my shoulder. Just relax, and you'll feel it. Easier said than done. But I closed my eyes, took a deep breath, and tried to let go. I felt a strange but not unpleasant fuzzy feeling in my core. Then it began to spread outward toward my limbs, somehow both hot and cold at the same time. Disoriented, I felt like I had begun to float, yet my feet were firmly planted on the ground. I instinctually put my arms out so that I could fall to my hands and knees. An itch started around my shoulder blades, and then a sensation of being stretched in several directions at once, until suddenly everything stopped. I opened my eyes. My head was much higher off the ground than before. I lifted my right hand so I can inspect it. Instead of soft, pale, human-like skin and delicate fingernails, I saw a reptilian talon covered with sleek, pale, blue-gray scales and sharp claws. Not so bad, was it? The purple dragon asked. No, I said. The whirlwind of emotions I was processing left me less than eloquent. What do I do now? You do as all dragons do, of course, she replied, chuckling again. I find a cave and hoard gold? The purple dragon let out a rich, full laugh, then wiped a tear away from her eye. Is that what you think we do, child? I nodded sheepishly, afraid to put my foot in my mouth again. Or maybe now it was put my claw in my mouth? I wasn't sure. The purple dragon gave me a kind smile, or at least as kind as one could imagine a dragon's smile could be. We do not hoard, my dear. A dragon's job is to collect. We choose something we'd like to archive, and keep it preserved for future generations. Certainly, some dragons become greedy and choose to hoard riches, but most of us are archivists. What would you like to collect, child? Still feeling awkward about my dragon form, I lifted my head and looked at the monastery. It was painful to see the destruction of all that I knew and loved. I stepped forward gingerly, testing my legs out, and slightly flapped my new wings to see how they felt. Then I moved with more purpose toward the location of my favorite room in the monastery. The books were likely burned beyond repair, but I was determined to see if at least one or two had survived. In frustration, my sadness and confusion redirected into anger, and I pulled all the loose stones I could find off the side of the building with my newfound dragon strength. I cleared away as much as I could so I could get my head and one arm into my cherished library. I searched frantically, then managed to find a single book that was only slightly scorched, but salvageable. I picked it up gingerly, fearing my strength would destroy what was left. The book was so tiny in my palm, but I carried it like the most precious of treasures back to the purple dragon. Ah, a book. Is this what you want to preserve? She asked. I nodded. Tears began to form in my eyes once more, and dropped to the ground as they turned to crystalline icicles. Yes. I want to collect books. I want to collect them to honor my memory of the monks here, especially Percival. Would that be okay? The purple dragon, in a swirl of magic, changed into the physical form of a human woman and held out her hands to take the book from me. I placed it gently in her hands, then followed suit. Instead of the fuzzy feeling coming from my core, it started at the tips of my fingers and toes, then moved inward. I felt myself shrinking back down to my familiar human form, though my wings didn't fully retract into my back. My head also felt slightly heavier, likely due to my horns not fully retracting either. Child, the purple dragon woman said once I'd stopped changing. I think that would be a beautiful way to honor them. Come, let us find you a suitable cave, and I'll start you on your journey. So that's it. That's how my story began. Sorry. Oh my gosh, my chat does work. That's crazy. You have no idea how much work I put into trying to get my chat to work, and it works, kind of. Yay. Let me see if I can fix it. Okay, we'll forget about chat for today. I will fix it though. I can work with this. Perfect. Okay, I'll leave this be for now. So, welcome everyone. I am Aspen Dracaena. I know that last name is a little hard and confusing for some people. But yeah, Dracaena. I am an Ice Dragon Bookwyrm, and I am so happy to have you all here. Today I'm just going to focus on letting you know what I'm doing here and what you can expect from me, and what hopefully we'll be able to enjoy together. And so let's start real quick with learning a little bit about me. So we'll just put that over chat since chat's kind of working. All right. So as I said, my name is Aspen Dracaena. I was born found June 7th, 1577. I'm going to turn down this music a little tiny bit. My species is Ice Dragon, and my home is the library cave. Let's see. I don't think there's much more to say about that. So let's move on to the next one. Let's talk about my goals here. So my goals are, let's get that open for you. All right. So my goals are to create an audio version of every book for Balance of Seven, which is the company that I am streaming for. We have about around 30 books published, and we are currently working on accepting our next batch of books for the year. We do all kinds of interesting books. We do literary fiction, we do science fiction, we do fantasy, we do horror. We like being creative, and we like supporting creators, and we also have a very firm belief in the importance of publishing books from writers who may not necessarily have an easy time getting published because they're a little different. We like to publish women writers. We like to publish people who are members of the LGBTQIA community. We like to publish BIPOC authors, people who are disabled. We want to make sure diverse voices are heard. So, second goal, I want to play all the games on my Steam account. Heather is in chat right now. She has seen how many books I have in my Steam account. Or rather, how many games I have in my Steam account. It is embarrassing how many games I have that I have not played yet. So, we're gonna play lots of games. It'll be fun. My third goal is to finish and publish my other manuscripts. Like any writer, I have a lot of unfinished short stories and books that I've been writing that I really need to finish and put out there. So this is a very normal thing for anybody else who is a writer. Like, you know what this is. This is just the curse of being a writer. And then I also want to encourage writers, readers, and artists. You know, books are not just written. They also have beautiful covers created by artists. So we really want to support them too. And we really want to reach out to readers and help them have a place where they feel safe and warm and cozy. There is a final goal that I did not put on this list. At some point, hopefully, in the future, I don't know how soon that will be, I want to get a model made of me in dragon form, fully rigged. I think that would be incredibly cool, and I know it's probably going to be a little hard. There aren't a lot of people who will rig animal kind of creatures, so hopefully I can make that happen. I guess we'll just have to see how that goes. In the meantime, I will be here as me. So let's see. Let's move on. So, being a bookworm, of course, I am going to talk about my favorite authors. So, let's see. Some of these you may know, some of these you may not. One of my favorite authors is Robin McKinley. She wrote an incredibly beautiful version of Beauty and the Beast called Beauty. And it's a book I go back to year after year and read over and over again. I just feel it's like such a heartfelt story and told just so well. So yeah, that's one of my favorites. Second is Peter Beagle. If you know the animated movie The Last Unicorn, he is the author of the book that movie was based on. I highly recommend reading the book. It is incredible. I mean, I'm sure we always say the book is better than the movie. In this case, while the movie was very good, the book is worth reading. I also love Ray Bradbury. Special favorite is Fahrenheit 451. I think in that book he showed how important it was to value creativity and value storytelling, and I think it was, a warning in a way that we should always, consider how important the written word is, but also how important stories are for helping us know who we are in the world. Neil Gaiman is also a favorite. People know him pretty well, I think. He's so much in the public eye these days. Jane Austen, of course. I love Jane Austen books. I have watched so many Jane Austen based movies, it's ridiculous. And of course, Tolkien. What list of authors could not include Tolkien? And then Terry Pratchett as well. Sir Terry is so sorely missed. He so beautifully combined fantasy and satire. There's nobody quite like him. And I really love Toni Morrison's works. I know a lot of this list actually maybe looks like a list of suggested authors from a high school reading list, but a lot of the reasons why people are on those lists is because they have something so beautiful and important to say. And I think Toni Morrison was so beautifully expressed the experience of people of color in the U.S. And then finally, of course, all authors at Balance of Seven. I don't think we would have published all of those books that we've published without actually just really loving the authors. So hopefully you'll stick around and you'll get to know who these authors are, because we will be doing interviews with authors and doing some reading of their stories as well. So definitely stay tuned. You'll get to meet some really talented people. All right, so next we're going to go to favorite movies and shows. So yes, The Lord of the Rings. Those movies count as one. You can't tell me otherwise. They were all filmed at the same time. So how can they not count as one? I know that they have been marketed as 3 separate movies. Much as with the Lord of the Rings books, the reason it was split up into 3 was because it was so long and the publisher did not want to waste paper in case people didn't want to read the whole thing. But The Lord of the Rings was written to originally be 1 book, and the Lord of the Rings films were all filmed at once, so I consider that to count as the same. So the second one, I do like art house movies, and The Red Violin is also one of my favorites. It is such an epic movie following the story of this mysterious violin with red shellac on it. And there's this deep, disturbing mystery behind this violin. And as the violin passes from person to person, tragedy seems to befall almost everybody who has owned this violin. And I won't say more, but it's worth taking a look at. It's a fantastic movie, excellent actors. Beauty and the Beast. I'm talking about the Disney one, the animated one. I was a little disappointed with the live action one, but yeah, Beauty and the Beast, the Disney version, was probably one of the first movies that I ever really let myself cry while watching it. Then, of course, there's some anime I like too. Barakamon, that series just makes me laugh, and I love how it shows how one person can be changed by the people around them. Wolf Children also makes me cry. But oh gosh, I love that movie so much. It's so beautiful. I also Buffy the Vampire Slayer. No words can tell how formative Buffy the Vampire Slayer has been to me. But you know, whenever I find out somebody hasn't watched the series, I'm like, please watch it. Watch. It's so so well acted. And then finally, the Ancient Magus Bride. One of the things I like about that series is it feels like it's about healing. It's about learning our own value in the world, and I think it's so beautiful. All right, let's see what is next. How about favorite games? So yeah, as I said, I have about 150 games in my Steam account, and I've played only a small fraction of them. So it's so embarrassing. I can't believe it, but anyway. So I like horror games and I like cozy games. I know there's a few other people out there who are like that, like me. But I don't know what it is. I think sometimes horror games can be cozy, and sometimes cozy games can be terrifying. So one of my favorite games is Layers of Fear. Hi, Sunny, how you doing? Layers of Fear is so fascinating. Whenever I play that game, I just feel so absorbed in this building, and it reminds me so much of years ago I visited the Winchester Mystery House. And if you know anything about the Winchester Mystery House, it is crazy. Like, it's so easy to get lost in that building because so much of the architecture doesn't make sense. And so Layers of Fear just hits on that for me. I love it. So, and I will be playing that. I will be playing Layers of Fear on Sunday. So if you want to see me playing Layers of Fear, that will be happening. Animal Crossing. So I was like many of the other people who started playing Animal Crossing when certain health events happened a few years ago. And I think the horrifying thing about Animal Crossing is how easy it is to sit down and just keep playing and playing and playing all day until you get to the end of the day and you're like, oh my god, what did I do all day? So yeah, horrifying. I also love Don't Starve Together. Doki Doki Literature Club. I love how it just completely puts you, it just sets you sideways. It's so fun. Dream Daddy. I love Dream Daddy. I will probably play that again. The storytelling is so good in Dream Daddy. I just, I know it's like, oh, cute, like, gay dads, dating. It's cute. But I think there's a lot of compassion in the storytelling that they have in that game. It's not just funny, but it's very sweet. So I really like that. I've been playing Goose Goose Duck lately with friends, and I'm trying to organize a collab for Saturday to play Goose Goose Duck. I think it's hilarious. I think the way how people react is hilarious. I like almost any backroom style games. So when I dream at night, it's almost like I'm dreaming in backrooms. Like, most of the dreams I remember all take place in sprawling buildings. Maybe it's because of that Winchester Mystery House experience. I don't know. But I don't know. Something appeals to me about it. I always thought I wanted a house with a big empty room in it. Just to have a big empty room. And maybe that's why. I don't know. I also like the Nancy Drew games. I think they're a lot of fun. As you can probably see, I do like games that have storytelling elements. And the Nancy Drew games definitely have that. Monster Prom. Monster Prom cracks me up. And then Turnip Boy commits tax evasion. So I guess what this list tells you is I like horror and I like to laugh. So that'll tell you a lot about who I am. Alright, I'm going to move on to the next. How about favorite music? This was a hard list for me to put together. I like all kinds of music. I actually have played piano. I've studied a little guitar. I'm not very good at guitar. I'm just going to warn you now. I've played guitar, but I'm not good. I've also had voice lessons. So I just love music. Classical, I love Chopin, Beethoven, Bach. I also like soundtracks as well. So like Joe Hisaishi, who does a lot of the soundtracks for Studio Ghibli movies. I love his music. And then K-pop. Yeah, I'm a mom baby and a stray, and I love Mamamoo. I don't know. I'm not quite into the more recent groups, but you know, I will give anybody a chance. I will listen to just about anything. Jazz. I love classic jazz. Jazz is one of the things I studied for music. So I love Ella Fitzgerald. She was an ambassador of music. There's nobody like her. I love Louis Armstrong for how he could play the trumpet like it was singing. And when he sings, it sounds like he's playing the trumpet. I also love Bill Evans and his just beautifully gentle piano playing and reinterpretations of popular music. Musicals. Okay. For real, I grew up on musicals. I love musicals. Musicals are like my bread and butter. You name a musical, I probably know at least one song from it, especially if it's an older one. I could probably recite the whole of Into the Woods by myself. I love Tori Amos. I think she was such a her piano playing is just incredible. And I don't think she's the best vocalist, but her lyrics are so interesting, and I think she was so experimental, and I don't know that she really does much these days in terms of performing, but yeah, definitely a product of the 90s. Mr. Wives. I just like Mr. Wives. I discovered them from a commercial. One of their songs was in the background of the commercial. I'm like, I like this song. And so I looked it up. I started listening to Mr. Wives. It became music I listened to when I was working on my first manuscript that I ever finished. So, yeah, I have a special place in my heart for them. And then Second Person is a musical group that isn't around anymore, but you can find their music on YouTube. Yeah, I feel like their vibe is very, very me. So if you ever want to kind of get a sense of me in song form, you might want to look up second person on YouTube. Okay, let's see what's next. All right, so now we're gonna do the less pleasant stuff. Okay, and I know it's not gonna be fun, but I have rules, and I have rules for a reason. So hang on a second. Let me grab those rules and pull them over here. I actually have 2 of these. And I'm sorry, but I feel like, these days, people have a lot of interesting reaction to VTubers and streamers in general. So I wanted to make sure that I was being really clear with everybody who I am, what I am going to do, what I'm not going to do. I think it's good to have clear boundaries. So, rule number 1, no hate speech. We respect everybody here. I have no tolerance for unnecessary cruelty. You will be banned. That's just how it's going to be. 2, no harassment of myself, guests, or anyone in chat. I am going to be having authors come and do interviews with them, and I want them to be respected. Creators get so little respect as it is sometimes, and it's so unfair. So I want to make sure that the people who come on my streams are treated with, again, the utmost respect. 3, do not mention any other livers or streamers unless I do first. I think this is pretty standard. We want to keep focused on whatever the content is at hand. 4, do not spam chat with off-topic discussion or sensitive topics. Balance of 7 does stand for certain things, so there will be sensitive topics I may discuss. There may be sensitive topics that our guests bring up, and that's okay. But, if somebody's going to come in here and start, talking about things that are off topic and make people feel uncomfortable, I don't want that here. 5, no backseating for games unless I specifically ask for it. I may actually do some streams where they will be absolutely backseat friendly because I know people like to do that, and that's fine. I just don't want it unless I'm asking for it. Number 6, do not call me pet names. I am Aspen, or Aspen Dracaena, or Ice Dragon. You can even call me Bookwyrm. But don't call me mommy or some weird thing like that. That's not what I'm here for. You can call me Aspen, Ice Dragon, Bookwyrm, and that is fine. And this leads into the next one. Shipping. Shipping is such a thing. I know in YouTube and VTube culture and Twitch culture, I'm a person. I don't want to be treated like my relationships are trading cards to be switched around and shared with everybody. I know who I am friends with. I know who I love. I know who I care about. If you want to ship, keep it to yourself. I get that sometimes that will happen anyway. Just please don't push it on me or anybody in chat. And that also leads into the next one. Number 8. No, not safe for work art. No art with me smoking in it either. I have very strong feelings about that. I'm not here to be internet girlfriend. I am here to support creative people, and it's not all about me. I'm not going to be one of those streamers who's going to be focused on just myself. I am here to support my authors and my artists and my friends. So please understand, I'm not here to be it's not about my ego. It's about supporting others. That's important to me. The next one, English only chat, please. I don't have moderators that speak other languages at this point yet. I love languages. Je parle un peu français and hablo un poquito español, pero es muy mal. I even know a little bit of Japanese, but this is in English. I'm an English streamer. This is an English chat. I want to be able to moderate it so that it's fair to everybody. Finally, and this goes back to some of the other things I've said, remember that our relationship is that of streamer and viewer. I want everyone to have a good time, and I care about you, but please respect my boundaries and the boundaries of people who I may have on stream with me. So those are my rules. They will be posted at the bottom in my About Me section on Twitch. And yeah, I hope you find them, reasonable. So let's move on. Okay. We're actually almost done with this here, but I want to spend some time, we can chat a little bit after I'm done addressing all of this. Hashtags. Okay. So let's get rid of that. So let's bring our hashtags forward. Okay. So I did come up with some social media hashtags. I did check them already to make sure that they were not in use. So if you want to get some attention to your art or your writing or anything regarding my streams, I have some hashtags. I have a general hashtag, which is my last name, Dracaena. If it's related to me going live, I have the hashtag Dracaena Live, which I thought was kind of cute. Writing, I have DraxPen. Sunny, yes, absolutely. We get to talk K-pop, yes. Maybe we should do a stream together sometime where we can talk about K-pop. I think that would be really fun because I'm a little behind on current trends in K-pop. So let's do that. Then for art, it'll be Drac Art. And I will try to make sure I have those posted somewhere for you guys to access. All right. And then let's see. Finally, I want to, so this is here. Let me move this a little bit. I just have one more piece right here. Okay. Come on out. You can do it. Okay. I wouldn't be able to do this if it wasn't for these wonderful, amazing people. So, my model art and that loading screen was done by Lasana Strauss. You can find her on Twitter. All the links are at the bottom of my About Me section here on Twitch. So, and I do have a card as well linked on my Twitter X account where you can find this information as well. So it's kind of interesting. I want to say some things about these people. I don't know if all of them can be here, but I know Lasana has been talking on her Twitter about stuff going on in her country that's been really scary, and I've been really concerned about her, actually. I've been keeping up, and every time she posts something, I just tell her, please stay safe, take good care of yourself and your family and friends. But I know she's been through a lot. She is such a talented artist, and I think she really deserves to have her art seen. And she does do models, and she is taking commissions. So find her. If you want a model as cute as mine, find her. She's wonderful. She's lovely. My rigging is by Needy. So if you don't know who Needy is, follow her. She is somebody who gives back so much to the VTubing community. She is always, she makes, she puts together fully rigged models for people to get for very inexpensive amounts of money. So she'll do, non-exclusive adoptables that are like ridiculously reasonably priced. She does giveaways all the time. She's such a kind person, and I know she works hard to take care of her mom. Give her a little attention, give her a little love. She is such a kind person, and she's also been dealing with a lot recently. There have been some people who've been trying to take the wind out of her sails really unfairly. And, she deserves love. She is a decent person. She's been through a lot, and she gives so much. So follow Needy. She's wonderful. My logo, I don't have it right here on my stream right now, but Mogoslab is a fantastic logo designer. You need to get a logo from Mogoslab. Yeah, it's crazy how quickly Mogoslab worked on my I just I have no words to express how blown away I was at how I could get a logo in like less than a week. I didn't even pay for Rush, and it was done in less than a week, and it was perfect. So thank you so much. The panels as well on my Twitch page. What Jizz, who is actually also going through a hard time right now. These people are so deserving of love. My gosh. Like, what's happening in the world? Give Jizz some love. I'm not going to say a lot more. I don't know all the details of what's going on, but they're going through something. Everybody's going through something. And then my emotes, which I am hoping to be able to add soon, which are actually on Discord, in the Scuff Crew Discord. You can see them there. I want to add them. They're by 88 Design. They're so cute. All right. So I think I've gone through everything. Let's see. Okay, I am going to hide the chat box because it is driving me crazy. So here. We'll just move that for now. All right. Woohoo. Hi. It's so nice to meet all of you. So I don't know if anybody has any questions or would like to know anything. Sunny very kindly asked if we want to talk about K-pop. Yes, we can talk about K-pop. I love music. Please ask me about music. Let's talk about music, please. I will happily, I do plan on doing a lot of streams where I'm not just gaming, but also maybe doing some like arts and crafts. And that will be a great time to just randomly talk about stuff. Yeah. And oh my gosh, if you have a book you like, please find me on Twitter. Send me a link. I love books, and if you think there's an author that I should try to see if I can interview, particularly if they're an independent or small press author, send them my way. I am so, like, we're not just here to support Balance of Seven, we're here to support creativity. We're here to support authors. A lot of publishing companies don't advertise books. They count on the authors to do all the work. And it's so awful because there's so few authors who get the recognition they deserve. So that is one of the things that we are trying to do here. We want authors to have their stories seen. So I'm going to take a quick sip of my tea that's right in front of me right now because it's getting cold. So give me a second. Yes. Favorite genre. Oh, that's so hard. My favorite genre of music to play on the piano is classical. My favorite genre of music to sing is jazz. I love like 90s rock music. I think 90s rock music is kind of, I feel like modern pop has gotten a little stale, but I think 90s like alternative music really pushed the boundaries. And yeah, K-pop, like I went down a rabbit hole a few, like, oh gosh, was it like 3 or 4 years ago? And I was just watching whatever I could on YouTube, music videos of different K-pop groups, a lot of the shows where those K-pop groups formed from. K-pop's just fun, and like the amount of hard work and talent that goes into creating those groups, just it's amazing. Like they're serious. It's not like just somebody off the street being like, oh yeah, I want to do pop music. Like those people work hard, and their dancing is so amazing. Like I've taken ballroom dancing. I'm an okay dancer when it comes to ballroom dancing. I could not dance like anybody in a K-pop group. And the amount of energy it takes to be able to dance and sing at the same time, that's hard. That is so hard. So lots of respect to K-pop. I also do listen to some J-pop as well. You kind of can't help but listen to J-pop when you watch a lot of anime. In fact, one of my favorite J-pop songs is the closing song into Barakamon. I love that song. Yeah. And yes, Ocha, oh my gosh, Felix. Felix is fantastic from Stray Kids. I absolutely, one of my favorite, like probably my all-time favorite Christmas song ever is Christmas Evil, because I think it's just so funny and clever. But yeah. So we will talk music. If you guys want to talk music, we will talk music. His voice is incredible. Like, he is so like slender. You don't expect that voice to come out of his body. It's incredible. Like, oh man. I mean, I can sing okay, but I am blown away by him. He's something else. Gosh, I'm trying to think of something else that we could talk about too. So, let's talk a bit about my schedule this coming week. I was going to add it into OBS, but I, like a silly, forgot. So, let me pull it up. I do have it pinned on my, Twitter. Tomorrow, I thought it would be good to do a game that will help you to get to know me more. So we're doing Refined Self. I admit I have played it before, but it's been a while, so I erased it from my computer and re-download it, so hopefully we can start it fresh. But I thought it'd be cool to play a game that helps you know a little bit about my personality. Oh no, it's okay! Swimming link. Oh my gosh, so swimming is really awesome. Swimming streams too. Swimming's a good friend. So yeah, it's okay. You can watch the VOD. I'm good with that. I'm just happy you're here. Um, so yeah, tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern time, so that's New York time. I'll be playing Refined Self. We'll talk a little bit, and you can get to know me. On Friday, we are going to do our first episode of What's Your Story, and I think I hear my cell phone ringing. It's probably Human Mother. You'll hear about Human Mother from time to time. She is the human who I live with, who is my mom. Refined Self is a really cool game. It's a game that you play that takes you through a bunch of you're like this little android person, and you're going through this whole, like, you're traveling through this whole area, and each task you do helps to determine something about your personality. So just thought it was a real cool way to help you guys get to know me. It's fun. Friday, my author interview show is going to be called What's Your Story? We are going to I'm going to read the prologue and first 2 chapters of Sarah Hines' book, Hubris. And then we'll have a nice chat with Sarah. She's actually a really good friend of mine, and I adore her. So you'll get to meet Sarah. She's incredibly intelligent and thoughtful and cool. And one thing I want to mention about What's Your Story is I am going to be recording these books, and we are going to put them on the Balance of 7 Patreon. We are going to have donation tiers under each author's name. So if you want access to the full audiobook of each author's story, you can pay to join under their tier on Patreon, and you will have access to their audiobooks. I don't fully have Hubris up yet. That is one of the things I'll be working on next week. I'll be recording that for everybody, and you'll be able to access that on Patreon. And in fact, with my own Patreon, I am going to post the full manuscript of my lore as well, so you'll be able to read it if you'd like to. I'm not going to put it behind the paywall. It will be free, so anybody can access that. And my Patreon link is below. Saturday, we are going to do a Goose Goose Duck collab at 11. I may actually open it up, so if viewers want, they can join. Goose Goose Duck is free to play. We do have a group of people who will be joining us, and we'll have some fun. And then, as I said, on Sunday, we're going to do Layers of Fear. I'm going to start at noon. Again, Eastern time. All times will be Eastern times. That's the time zone I live in. And we'll get to enjoy one of my favorite games. And I have the new version of it, and I haven't played the new version of it, so we'll see how that goes. I don't know how much it's been changed, or if it's just they decide to put all 3 games into one. So that will be this week. I will be streaming Monday and Tuesday next week as well, and I'll be taking a break on Wednesday. So I do plan a full 7 days of streams. As I move on, though, I'll probably do 3 to 4 streams a week. If I do streams on weekdays, I might do shorter streams. I might even limit them to an hour or maybe 2. Days I have off from the Dragon doctor's office that I worked at, or that I work currently at, I will probably, do longer streams. But ultimately, I don't want to overwork myself because I have my day job. I help Balance of 7 with a lot of authoring and editing and commissioning artist stuff. And I'll also be doing this. So I'm going to be a busy girl. So please be patient with me. I can commit to 3 to 4 days a week right now. If things go really well, I will happily make more happen, because I am so excited about being able to do this and really highlight other people rather than just kind of focus on myself. I'm not somebody who generally... I'm the kind of person who will be everybody's biggest cheerleader. So, yeah, again, if you have any artists you know who you want interviewed, if you have any authors you know who you'd like interviewed, direct them to Balance of Seven or let me know. Balance of Seven does have an email that you can send requests to. That is info@balanceofseven.com. Really simple. If we might, I might share at some point all the games that I have on my Steam list, and I might have days where you can help me choose what to play. So I might do polls on Twitter about that. So look out for that. And yeah, I think this will be really fun, and I really look forward to getting to know everybody. Yeah, is there anything else anybody would like to talk about, or I could tell you what I've been playing recently. One thing I do plan on doing is co-working streams. Those will probably be Thursday nights. So if you aren't familiar with Balance of Seven does something called Word Splurge, where I think we're about 4 days a week. We do co-working video calls, and it's a little extra service that Balance of Seven provides to authors. And so if you do want more direct feedback, if you're a writer and want to feel like you're part of a community and get some feedback, Balance of Seven, in Word Splurge, we don't judge people for what they write. It's just solely about supporting and helping people to feel like, they feel good about putting pen to paper or fingers to keyboard and just getting their thoughts out there. So Word Splurge is something that Balance of Seven offers, it is a paid service. But I will on Thursdays do co-working streams. Lately, I've been using Spirit City Lo-Fi to keep track of my tasks to do. So I might actually make those streams a little bit more about using Spirit City Lo-Fi, if you know what I'm talking about. I would love to see people join for that. Yes, Heather said Human Mother says hi. I'm going to tell you a little bit about Human Mother. So, Human Mother is the sweetest, nicest person in the world. She is a retired preschool teacher. She is just... people who meet her, she always makes an impact. I could be walking around with her, wings out, looking all flashy like my dragon self, and people will completely ignore me because my mom is just the sweetest person. You don't understand. My mom is the least judgmental person I know. Human Mother is so kind, and she really cares about people, and I think she really has had such a big impact on me in that, she really taught me how important it is to treat people with love and compassion, and I am always going to be so happy to pass that on. If there's one legacy Human Mother has left me, it's that I always hope that I can do her proud by being just as kind as she is. And she's also somebody who loves books too. We talk about books a lot. And she... I'm making Human Mother tear up. Oh. But really, like, Human Mother, you are one of the best people in the world. I don't think it's a lie to say that. I think your impact on people has been huge. And I want people to know how special and amazing you are. Aww. So, yeah, I may talk about Human Mother from time to time. Because I love her so much. Let's talk a little bit more about my human family. I have a human older brother and a human younger brother. So here's a cool fact about me. I helped older human brother start a sheep farm. So if you ever have any questions about sheep, and you know, being a writer, it's always good to know people who know weird stuff. And oh boy, do I know weird random stuff. I know a lot of weird random stuff. So, if you're ever writing something about a farm, you can ask me. I will give you information. I also have a master's degree in clinical psychology. So if you're writing something, you want to make sure, like if somebody has a diagnosis and you want to make sure you're presenting them correctly, you can always ask me questions. I am always happy to answer. I'm not going to say I'm a full expert. I'm not going to say I know everything. But I have worked as a therapist. I worked with children who were survivors of trauma and abuse. It's something I feel very deeply about. And I think it's very important to really support people who are struggling and to give love where love sometimes hasn't been given enough. So yeah, that's a cause very close to my heart. But if you ever have questions about mental health or psychology, you can ask me that. As anyone knows, if they're a writer or an artist, sometimes you will go online and do the weirdest research just to learn something, so you get your creative project just right. I once spent about 3 hours researching damask wallpaper for a story that I was writing. So if that tells you how crazy authors are, we're crazy. In the best sense. I'm sure artists do a lot of similar things they to reference things for their art. And hey, you know, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. But you will find, if you are not a writer yet, if you become a writer, you will learn how crazy your Google search history will become. It will be weird. And don't be afraid. It's okay to look up weird stuff. Yes. So yeah, Heather. I took Heather, my funny little scuffed fox friend, to see the sheep on Human Brothers farm. I'm going to tell you this about Heather here. That woman, animals adore her. So Human Brother has these 2 sheep guarding dogs. I don't know if you know the breed, but they're Maremas. They're big, fluffy white dogs, not as big as Grand Pyrenees. When they're puppies, they look almost exactly like baby polar bears. Now, they are guard dogs. They're not meant to be friendly, although they are super fluffy and pretty and white and cute. But one of the dogs went over to Heather, sat on her foot, and leaned her head against Heather's thigh and just looked up at her, adoring. This is a guard dog. And it just fell in love with Heather. And of course, given that dog is just the sweetest baby to everybody who loves her. But she adored Heather. So Heather has some kind of magic with animals. I don't know. I mean, I like animals. I think animals are awesome. But Heather is like, she is the animal, and the animal magnet right there. Yes, she's the sweetest fox. So yeah. All right. So to human younger brother, he lives in Hawaii. That lucky dog. Unfortunately, I don't get to see him because he lives so far away from me. And I don't get to see my little human niece and nephew as often as I like. But they're adorable and I love them too. I also have a human nephew from my older human brother as well, who actually lives nearby. And if you've ever looked through my tweets, you will see that. So I'm connected to human nephew on my Steam account, so I can see every time he plays games. He is in college right now, so I know when he's slacking off or not. And I have in the past reported on when he is playing games, and I may still do that. I don't know. In fact, I may want to see if I can get him to play a game with me sometime. I think that would be so much fun. But yeah, human nephew is hilarious. He is a talented singer. You want deep voice? Felix deep voice? My nephew can sing, and he has a gorgeous deep voice. Oh my gosh, I am so proud of him. He's so talented. I love him to pieces. And yeah. It's scary how tall he's gotten. Anyway, so yeah, there are people who I love very much who I may talk about from time to time because I just love them so much. I know multiple people that hop into others offline. Yes. Yeah, so, yeah, I can imagine so. I've had times, even on YouTube, where I'll see that somebody I follow on YouTube, it looks like they're live, and they're not. But I will go, and I'll be like, oh my gosh, are they live? Are they live? Are they live? I'm like, they're not? But, yeah. Yeah. Also, like, if you're a VTuber yourself, or you're an author yourself, let me know what your socials are. I want to see what's up with you. Like, I want to do collabs. I really want to do collabs. I really enjoy getting to know people. I'm an introvert, but I love people. I just get tired of people after a while, of course. But I love people. Yes, swimming. We have to do a proper collab. We've been talking about it. We have to make that happen. We have to find a good game that we can do together. That will be a one-on-one collab. That would be so much fun. Yes. And, yeah. Yay. Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to doing this and really looking forward to swimming you flirt. Anyway, yeah, but I feel like I do want to spend, at least, I like doing big collabs, but I think it'll be really fun to do some collabs where I get to know people one-on-one and do some fun stuff and getting to know them. I mean, come on. Like, it's social media, not anti-social media. So, let's get to know each other. Gosh, so yeah, I'm not sure. What else could we talk about? Let's talk a bit about things that I do plan on streaming in terms of crafts and stuff. I actually love doing arts and crafts. I bought these little wooden, they're like these little wooden bookend houses. I have 2 of them, and I do plan on streaming making one of those. I know how to crochet. I like doing all kinds of creative stuff. I am one of those people who always has to be doing something with my hands. And a certain fox gave me some talons to wear, and I can't do as much with my hands right now, and it's driving me up the wall. These won't last forever. I'll be back to having normal fingers soon. But yeah, I do plan on doing a lot of creative arts and crafts, not just writing and talking about art. So yeah. I do at some point want to do a tier list where I can classify, have VTubers share their models, and I can put them on a tier list of what genre of book I would put them into if I were writing a story about them. So keep your eyes open for that. I'm going to put something up on Twitter soon. Of course, I can't call it X. I'm so used to calling it Twitter. It's been Twitter for like, what, a decade? It's hard to change. I'm an old dragon. I can't change easily. I'm sorry. But yeah. So we'll be doing all kinds of fun activities, and yeah. If you have any suggestions, again, you can find me on Twitter. You can use that email address, info@balanceof7.com, and we'll see what we can make happen. I'm streaming on JTV. Yeah, so I think we'll have a lot of fun. I'm not sure what more there is to say. Yes. One thing that I forgot to put hot anime men tier list when, oh gosh. I think I owe that because another person did not do their hot anime tier list. Okay. I must be cultured. Anyway, yes. Mascot. Fan name. I have been thinking Bookwyrm. I don't know if that's taken by any other VTuber yet, but Bookwyrm, not book... Here, let me type it into chat. Not Bookwyrm. Though I will still love you if you're a worm. But Bookwyrm with a Y. Because a worm with a Y is a type of dragon. And I was thinking about a mascot. I have some ideas about mascots. We did have Gamer Bat show up in my bedroom. I mean, when you live in a library cave, you're probably going to get bats. And so I was thinking about possibly a bat or possibly a small miniature dragon. It's up to you guys. Like, if you have ideas, let me know. We can have a little mascot. Yes, Heather screamed. It was an adventure. I had it pinned for a while, the video she took of the bat climbing all over my bed, and then it perched on my Switch and started playing a game on my tablet. Like, literally, it was touching the screen on my tablet and making the game progress because it kept touching the screen. It was so funny. I hope that bat's still around. I've noticed we haven't had as many insects this year, and I think it's because of the bat. So, bats are sky puppies. They are our friends. I think a bat would be fantastic. Gosh, bats are so cute. And it's crazy because, like, if they've been presented so poorly in media for years as being something scary, but they're just little friends. They just have wings. Like, they fly and they mostly just eat insects and fruit. They are wonderful exterminators. I have not been getting bit by mosquitoes this year because there are bats in the area now, and I am so pleased. I'd rather not be itchy all the time. Because, you know, I may have dragon scales, but I usually stay in human form. And so I'm not so scaly when in human form. So yeah, I love the idea of a bat, especially because they have wings like I do. So we'll see what happens. Yes, scales. So yeah, yeah. Let's work on this. I think it will be a lot of fun, and we're still getting things, put together for getting things organized. Balance of Seven is a small company, um, so it's not like we have a huge amount of funding to do a lot of big things. But at some point, I'll definitely look at getting a little mascot put together for everybody. I think that would be a really fun way to connect the community. Hello, how are you? Oh, I once was a ghost tour guide in St. Augustine, Florida, and while doing a tour, somebody pointed out a bat clinging to the back of somebody else's shoe. Wow, that's actually really cool. Um, yeah, bats are little friends. I think they're really cool. And ghost tour guide, that is fun. If there's one thing that I would love to do, is I would love to like go on a one of those ghost shows that they have. Probably not the one with Zach Bagans. He worries me. I'm not sure about him. But the Ghost Hunters show, that's kind of a go-to for me. I think it's so interesting. Um, I'm a skeptic, but I also think there's something to say about, sometimes things happen that are strange and we have no explanation. And so, we can't just ignore some things. That said, I forgot. I will be doing some tarot streams too. I do read tarot cards. In my throne, I do have a couple of tarot card packs on my wish list, but I do have a tarot deck that I use already. So I might be willing to do some tarot streams if anybody wants to come on as a guest. Sarah! Oh, that is Sarah! Hi! So Sarah is our author who I'm going to be interviewing on Friday. So please come. She's amazing. I love her. She's... Gosh, I was actually reading some of Hubris yesterday, and I was just like, God, this is so cool. Like, Sarah's so smart. Like, she's so, gosh, I'm not sure what the best social media is for Sarah, but you can, Heather. Maybe, we can do a link. You know what? Here's what we should do. Balance of Seven has its own store. You can buy all Balance of Seven books on Amazon, but we recommend going to the Balance of Seven shop because that supports us better. Amazon will put things on sale whether we want them to or not. And the best way to make sure our authors get the full royalties that they so richly deserve. It's easier for us to give them royalties when you pay full price for the books. So yes, check out Balance of Seven. I'm gonna pull up the store. You can find books there. Hang on. Balance of Seven store. Okay, I am going to pull up the store right now, and I'm gonna go ahead. Oh, hi, Austin. Thank you for the raid. I really appreciate that. I hope you had a good stream. Here, I'm gonna put the link to the Balance of Seven store. Please support our authors. They are so deserving. They work so hard. I'm great. I hope you're doing well. Did you just finish a stream, Austin? Great. What were you streaming? I like asking questions. It gives me time to sip my tea. Oh, Fall Guys. Oh my gosh. I participated in another streamer's Fall Guys tournament, and it was so much fun. I am terrible at that game, but oh my gosh, yeah, that's such a fun game. Um, but yeah, it's so good to have you here. Uh, and maybe at some point we can do a Fall Guys tournament of some sort. I don't know. But yeah, once I can figure out how to use my capture card, I will definitely not just play my Steam games, but I'll pull in my Switch as well. I'm tempted to restart my Animal Crossing Island, so maybe we can do that as well. I haven't touched it in so long, and even though I love the villagers I have on my island, it may be time to start again. And I have a few other games on there as well. I know I have Suika game, and maybe we can do some. I know they have one-on-one version now in the game, so we could possibly do that. Yeah. So I think I'm gonna wrap it up there. I'm just overwhelmed at how many people showed up. Thank you. I am so happy to have so many of you here. I really want to make this something that everybody can enjoy. And please come back. I am always happy to see people again. I would love to get to know all of you more. And I hope I'll have a wonderful night. So I'm going to sign off. And we'll hopefully see you all tomorrow for Refined Self. And yes, please don't forget the big collab on Saturday. We are going to have so much fun being goofy. And yeah. So take care, everyone. Have a good night. Bye.